You're listening to The Upland Rookie, a podcast presented by Upland Brits, B Pro Kennels, Final Rise, and Inukshuk Professional Dog Food. And on today's episode, I sit down with my good buddy from Canada, Jody Funk of Maple Made Co. We talk bird dogs, his story, all that good stuff. So buckle up, it's going to be a good one. Big thanks to our title sponsor, B Pro Kennels. B Pro Kennels is a small business creating ultra high quality and custom dog boxes for the gun dog owner like you and I. No matter how big your string of dogs, B Pro Kennels will make sure you have a box that fits your needs for you and your gun dogs. With an innovative storage design and built-in solar panel and battery bank for quick access to charging accessories like dog collars, lights, fans, you name it. This is a dog box unlike anything you've seen before. Check them out at bprokennels.com. Oh, and they're made right here in the USA. And this is presented by Inukshuk Professional Dog Food, the world's highest energy dog food, period. Inukshuk's dense formulations ensure your pup in training and your seasoned bird dog get what they need to succeed in the field. High protein for muscle recovery and retention, high fat for quick access to much needed energy. Inukshuk works hard so your dogs can work harder. Check them out at inukshukpro.com. This podcast is also presented to you by Final Rise. All good things start with a solid foundation. At Final Rise, all three of their premium Upland vests are built around the foundational waist belt to provide you all-day comfort and endless customization. With a secure waist belt and thin, high-quality shoulder harness, this is the vest you can load down with birds and walk all day in. Final Rise is creating high-functioning upland gear that delivers comfort, balance, and a lifetime of memories. Check them out at finalrise.com. And this podcast is sponsored by Trinity Bretons, home of the Épingle Breton, also known as the French Brittany. All Trinity Breton dogs are from champion bloodlines that are field tested and family approved. For over 33 years, Trinity Bretons has worked to offer you the best bred Épingle Breton in the country. Trinity offers puppies, the Trinity Upland Academy with George Hickox, started dogs, stud services, and a whole lot more. Check them out at trinitybretons.com. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the podcast. So glad you guys are joining me today. Thank you to everyone who has been sharing your Spotify top listened to podcasts over the last couple of weeks. It's been so fun seeing the Upland Rookie podcast, the top of your charts or most listened to podcasts out there. I think I was most proud of, I think of one of them, I was just above or just under the Joe Rogan podcast. That was pretty freaking awesome. Again, I don't remember the listener who posted this, but thank you for sharing that. And thanks for listening. It's been a heck of a year doing this podcast again, and it's just been super, super fun to get on these guests on the show. And I mean, you guys probably know we never run out of things to talk about. And so thank you for your support. Thanks for sharing the show. Thanks for all the tagging as well. You guys have been doing a ton of social media tagging in Facebook and Instagram. So really, really appreciate that. It's really been helping the show grow even more over these last couple months. So, hey, I'm going to keep this intro super short. If you followed along my personal social media, we've had a flurry of sickness wipe through our house. Actually, the day I recorded the episode you're going to listen to here in a second, I was in my garage. I started not to feel well during the interview, started to get the body aches and chills and all that good stuff. And so I came down with the flu. The rest of the family all came down with it. We had a flurry of illness. Our baby had RSV. She was in the hospital for a couple days, but she is home now, which is we're super grateful for that. She needed a little oxygen support. So all that to say, been a little under the weather, been a little crazy here in the Larson household, but so we're going to keep this short, get back into tending to sick children, a sick wife. I know it's just never ending. So anyways, this episode, Jody Funk and we've been chatting for quite a while, ever since I think he popped on Instagram a while back. And we're just, you can tell by some of the banter in the beginning, we know each other pretty well. And it was just fun to unpack his story more. He visits us all the way up from Canada. We talk some hockey, of course. We talk about his Vishlas, getting into upland hunting, what he's learned. And again, I love these conversations because I'm getting to talk with someone who's fairly new himself to upland hunting. And so it's been a ton of fun to kind of get some real time new perspective on what he's learning currently with his dogs, hunting wild birds, all that good stuff. So I think you're really going to enjoy this one. Be sure to rate and review the podcast if you can on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff. And it's really going to help the show keep growing. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for, again, the support. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. And we'll be talking to you again real soon when we crank out the next one. So until then, enjoy the conversation with Jody Funk. We're going to lose all the good hockey talk, which is sad. And so, we can just chit chat for a little bit and we'll just kind of jump in.
Yeah, sure.
Naturally. I don't like doing a hard, all right, we're recording. Put your radio voice on. I got
a face for radio. Isn't that what
yeah. Well, you do. But no, just go back to your Flames and how you're not a good Canadian citizen.
I'm not a good Canadian citizen because I don't watch a lot of hockey. Yeah. When the whole strike came along, and I'm like, I think we lost the heart of playing hockey.
Yeah. Well, okay, hold on. Do you feel good about admitting that though on air, like that you don't watch a lot of hockey?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
You are?
I'm fine with it. I hunt more than I watch hockey, and whatever.
I mean, that's good. That's a good thing, but.
I never played hockey growing up, so maybe that's
God, you admitted that on air too?
I did.
Jeez, just air out all your dirty laundry. Why don't you?
Okay. Well, if they're gonna know me, they might as well know me.
So folks, we're talking with a not a true Canadian who likes to say he's Canadian. So just want to make sure everyone's clear of who they're listening to.
That's right.
That's all good.
Yeah. I am from Canada, born and raised. I do drink Tim Hortons, but I don't watch hockey.
Tim freaking Hortons. I love that place. We used to do a lot of fishing in Canada, and Tim Hortons was like a must stop for us.
The double.
Yeah. I'm not gonna let you off the hook about the hockey things. We're gonna, folks, if you get bored,
you're gonna come back. You wanna come back?
We're gonna start because I pulled up the stats before we.
Of course you would.
Before we get done. So just to let everyone know that right now the Flames are 5th in their division right now, behind Edmonton. And which is even more sad, okay, buckle up for this one, behind the Seattle Kraken. So you're struggling, I'll say that. Your team is struggling.
We are struggling, yeah. But we'll come back. We'll come back. It really, the only thing that matters to me is that we beat Edmonton.
See, I love Edmonton. They're a close second behind the Avs and the Hawks. Well, I guess they're a third behind the Hawks and the Avs.
You know what we Calgarians call Edmonton?
Please tell me.
Deadmonton.
Oh, that's sad. You guys aren't very good with your
anything going for them.
You guys aren't very good with your jabs, I guess. I mean, they have freaking Connor McDavid, the best player in the world right now, mind you.
And they had Rob Lowe too as a coach.
Rob Lowe. Oh my. I don't know if that's saying much. But no, you have Connor McDavid, and my 6-year-old thinks he is God. He has his McDavid jersey, and he's freaking amazing to watch.
Wait, what? You allow your child to wear an Oiler jersey?
100% I do. I support it. We love all hockey in this house, just not Calgary.
I'm sending him a Flames jersey. A Kippersaw, an old one.
A Kippersaw. Oh my gosh, isn't he dead?
Isn't he? I think he's playing in Germany somewhere in a pub league.
So here's a fun fact for you too. So Keith Tkachuk was my favorite player growing up.
Okay.
And the Blues, the Jets, he was Coyotes for a while. And now both his boys are playing. And so I did, for a little bit, I was like, I could get on board with the Flames because when Matthew Tkachuk was playing, now he jumped ship because he said, this is a hot mess and I'm going to go to Florida.
Sutter, they brought Sutter back last year, right?
By the way, the most hilarious coach in history. He is a straight shooter. I love watching his press conferences.
He's a cowboy. He's an Alberta cowboy.
Yeah. He talks about like helping his brothers on the farm, like during press conferences. Like, yeah, after this, he's like, well, going up to the farm and bale some hay.
Yeah, we got to get them bins full. Like, let's get on with this press conference. I got stuff to do.
Oh man. It's so good. It's so entertaining. I love it.
Yeah,
So,
brother.
anyways, folks, just so you know, Calgary is behind the Seattle Kraken, and I think that's saying a lot right there.
Well, we'll come back in the new year and see where we're at.
Yeah, you can you can keep thinking that.
Dare to dream, Arnold. Dare to dream.
And I have a little pen and paper here. So
Yep.
here's my paper, here's my pen. And so during this conversation, I'm going to mark down how many times I hear the word a.
So far, none.
No, you said it once, like 2 seconds ago.
Yeah.
You didn't even know it. You're like, a?
I was reading your questions like,
Did I spell it right even?
A. Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I did. Okay. It's just like EH, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. This will be a fun conversation already.
I can tell. It has the feelings. It has the makings of a good one. So we'll see how this goes. Well, Jody, why don't you put us on a map, brother? Let's kind of dive in here. Put us on a map. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Sure. I am in Calgary, or just north of Calgary, Alberta. So for those southern friends, that is pretty much straight north of Great Falls, Montana. I'm about 5.5 hours north of Great Falls.
Okay.
Right. So to the Rockies to the west and to the prairies to the east of me, I'm smack dab in the middle of big game hunting and other kinds of upland hunting that is new to me, but it seems to be a pretty good location for both.
Nice.
So I'm in construction, I guess you could say construction management and contracting. That's what I do, day-to-day stuff. And then, just follow the guys likes of you and try to glean some stuff. But yeah, that's where I'm located. That's what I do, my day-to-day stuff, man.
That's awesome, man. Very cool. So you kind of, sounds like you're kind of like around that line of, again, mountains, big game, prairies, small game, upland kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So to the west of me, for those who've heard of Banff National Park, it's kind of a hot spot for tourists. I'm about an hour and a half east of Banff National Park. So yeah, elk, mule deer, whitetail, antelope, bighorn sheep, goats, black bear,
Nice, yeah.
upland, just big game central.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Awesome. Here's a fun question. Have you ever been to the States?
I have been to the States.
You have? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's
you want me to name them now, don't you?
Oh, yeah, 100%. No, who was it? Brian from Inukshuk. Last podcast I did with him.
Oh, cool.
He was kind of giving me a little like education on Canada, right? So it's broken up into provinces.
Provinces is correct. Yes.
Provinces, and there's 7 of those.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, look! I retained something.
There you go.
That's all I know.
Yeah. So Alberta is between British Columbia and Saskatchewan.
Okay.
So Saskatchewan would be north of the Dakotas.
Okay.
And then I'm above Montana, and then Washington would be above or below British Columbia.
Gotcha. Okay. And how far over the border from like Montana border? How are you?
From the border, I'm about 3.5 hours.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah. Are you familiar with Montana? Like Great Falls?
A little bit. Yeah, I mean a little bit, but.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm from Great Falls and about 5.5 hours north.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. You get much fishing in during the summer months, or just?
I like to
hunting?
fish. I tried fly fishing a few times, and then I sold all that gear because I was terrible at it. And so now I'm just a spin caster.
Okay, there you go.
I like canoe trips. I really do enjoy that. Alberta is not great for lakes. Manitoba and Saskatchewan are better for that, but we do have some northern lakes that have some decent fishing.
Okay.
And I've had the pleasure of doing some canoe circuits up that way. But Ontario's by far even better than that. It's probably Canada's best kept secret or not so kept secret.
Okay.
For lakes and fishing. Yeah.
Okay.
Ontario's,
And that's more east of you.
yeah, that's east of Manitoba. Yeah.
Okay. We I'm trying to remember where we would go up. We'd go up to like through Minnesota, straight north of that.
Yeah. So you're probably Lake of the Woods.
Yes.
I have fished there actually.
Okay.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Walleye fishing there is ridiculous.
Yeah. The walleye, northern muskies, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun times.
Yeah, brother. And fishing is good. Yeah. I do enjoy it.
That's awesome.
Anything outdoors, actually, I really enjoy, right? So,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it seems like you're out there quite a bit, just enjoying the outdoors and dogs, whether it's hunting or whatever it might be. So
Whatever I can get my hands on. Yeah, I bet
that's
you.
awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, Jody, I want to learn more a little bit about you. So was hunting a part of your upbringing? Is it something you started later in life? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. Hunting was not part of my immediate family. Music was more of our thing. But I had uncles that were into hunting, and I didn't. I went on my first hunting trip when I was, I think, 13 or 14. My uncles were going for spring bears, and they're like, so I was begging to go along, and they're like, yeah, you can come along, but you first got to read this book, and the book was on bear attacks, like true life stories on bear attacks.
Wow,
He's like, if you want to go after this,
what a book!
Yeah, yeah. He's like, if you want to come after you've read this book, then you can come along. And I'm like, all right. So I read through the book. I'm like, yeah, count me in. Let's do this.
Sign me up still, really?
Yeah, sign me up. So I flew over to their province because they're in Manitoba, and went hunting with them. And I was along for the ride.
Sure.
I wasn't hunting, but I was along, and I was hooked. I was like, dude, I gotta get a gun. So I started buying like big buck hunting magazines and
Sure,
just reading as much as I could and kind of getting the bug that way. And then I didn't start hunting till in my 20s. I think it was 20. I started hunting big game.
Okay.
And just been hunting big game ever since.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice, man. That's awesome. Is that something you're still pretty active in, Upland, or like the big game as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've had a few really cool opportunities to do some international hunting with some family.
Oh, nice.
And so that's been pretty cool. But those trips are few and far. But yeah, I still love it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm getting tired of I'll be honest, sitting in ground blinds at minus 30 up here.
Sure. Oh, yeah. That's got to be
Right.
not the most enjoyable thing.
Oh,
right?
yeah, really love it. But no, if I can get out for a couple days, like we do get Chinooks up here, so we do get breaks in the weather.
Okay.
We could see 20 degrees difference from morning to evening.
Oh, wow.
And if we get those days, that's the days I want to get out and hunt. And it seems to be there's more movement.
And that's called a what? A Chinook?
Chinook.
Okay. A break in the weather?
Yeah, so we get a northwestern front that brings in warm weather with itself. And so you can usually see it because it'll be like cloud cover and it's starting to roll through. And then, we'll get into the plus digits on a winter day. Yeah. Like today, for example, it's like maybe 5 degrees Celsius.
Yeah. Celsius. Yeah. Do the math, folks. Do the math.
You figure it out. I'm not
doing it for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome, man. So started hunting big game in your 20s. Now, when did the dog come along? When did Upland come along for you? And I guess how did that come about for you?
Yeah, sure.
And I'll kind of state the obvious. I mean, some listeners might be thinking this too. When I think of upland hunting, I don't think of Canada. I don't know. It might just be my living in the States view or what it might be. So I don't think that is a natural, like where my mind goes to, but I guess talk about how what started you down the upland path.
I think too, for a lot of people that when they think of bird hunting in Canada, they think of migratory birds, right? The mallards, the geese, and so on and so forth.
Sure. Myself
included. So if I was to back up, I was looking for a dog, and I was looking for either a Vizsla, a GSP, a Rhodesian Ridgeback. This is going back like 6 years ago.
Sure.
So got looking, and I'd come across this write up on the Vizsla, how they are considered to be the Velcro dog of dogs.
Sure.
And so I was talking to some breeders across Canada, and then actually I was listening to your podcast, and this was kind of ironic, but I went on Kijiji, which is our Canadian Craigslist, if you will.
Okay. Nice.
Kijiji, yeah. Oh, nice. It's Canadian.
Oh, yeah.
And so I got looking on there, and I found this Vizsla in my nearest city to me here for sale. So I contacted the gal, and turns out they were going through a family crisis, and they had to part with the dog. And I just fell in love with the dude. His name was Theus, and I'm like, all right, cool. So ended up purchasing him, and then just going around doing like camping and canoeing and backpack tripping and so on and so forth. And as fate would have it, we actually lost him a year and a half ago to cancer. I only had him for 5 years, but I got in touch with a local bird club member and asked him about the dog and so on and so forth. He's like, it's probably a little too late. be hard to train him now. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And I didn't know anything, right? So I just took him at his word. Didn't really search it out too much. Hindsight's 2020. I wish I'd had, because I think he would have been a sweet dog to hunt behind. But
And he was how old when you got him?
a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was too bad, right? Because knowing what I know now, I certainly had seen that instinct in him just via taking him for walks and stuff. And I'm like, geez, I wish I'd spent the time, or at least had the resources I do now to me, to have trained him, or at least brought that out of him. Anyway, lost him to cancer, and then started the sort of search for a bird hunting dog. Or I use that term very loosely, but that would be my sort of thought behind it. Let's do something with this dog, right? So I started the transition of looking for dogs here in Canada and looking at breeders, and only few that were registered with CKC actually got back to me. And I didn't connect with the breeder. And I thought to myself, if I'm going to buy from a breeder, there's got to be a connection. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
Sure.
So without having any success in Canada, then I looked on the U.S. side, and I got poking around. I talked to a gal down in, if my memory serves me right, it was around Kentucky somewhere.
Okay.
And she's like, I don't ship dogs anymore because of flight times and stuff and layovers and whatever else. So unless you want to come and get them, it's not going to work for me, blah, blah, blah. But there is a breeder closer to you in Montana. So I contacted her, and we just hit it off. Now she's a Vizsla and Weimaraner breeder. And she had Vizslas on the ground, and I think Weims coming. Okay. And she's like, what are you thinking? I'm like, I'm thinking Vizsla, da-da-da-da. Anyways, I hemmed and I hawed a little too long, and she had one female left, and she's like, I was planning to keep her for myself, but being how serious you are about this and in your interest, if you want her, I'll sell her to you. So I'm like, all right, cool. Then COVID came, and we actually got sick, so I couldn't go across the border to get her.
Oh. Okay.
So then I actually hired a broker from Calgary, not far from where I live, and she goes down to Montana all the time to bring dogs back or across the border. So I was really fortunate enough to hit her up a week before she was leaving for this route.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So long story short, she brought her back, and then, I was sick at home for 2 weeks, which in hindsight was a blessing in disguise, because I was literally taking the dog pee, laying on the couch.
Yeah, you have. I mean, it's a good time with a young pup.
Yeah,
so.
If you're going to get it, that'd probably be the good time.
Yeah,
I mean, sort of lack of sleep and rest, and you're trying to get yourself. But looking back, it was a good bonding time for those 2 weeks, right? So,
was she a pretty young pup too at the time still?
Yeah, she was. I think she was 14 or 15 weeks when I got her.
Okay, yeah. Perfect.
So So long and short, man. It was.
So she's pretty young. I thought she was a little older. So she's still what? Only 2 then, right?
Yeah, she's only a year and a half.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. So she's young.
Yeah.
So backing up in your story just a little bit, and we can move on a little bit here. But so I guess you got your first dog. Was it with Theus? You said
correct.
Okay. So you got your first dog. Did you have like bird hunting in mind when you got him, or just more of like, hey, I just want a dog, outdoor buddy? Like, I guess when was the tipping point of like bird hunting, like really cross your path? Like, hey, I really want to try this, get into it, etc.
Yeah, that didn't come till I had Millie. So with Theus, it was just, we did backpack trips and camping and overnighters all the time, not all the time, but quite often, winter camping and stuff like that. He was just a trooper. Like if he was up for anything, whenever, like I'm always ready to go. Sure. So for him, it was just that. For her, it started out that way too. I just want an outdoor companion, and I'm happy with that. And then talking with the breeder, she's like, she does come from lineage of Steve Zobel out of, I'm trying to remember the dog's name now. Jailbreak. So she's a lineage of that. And he's got some good pedigree behind him. And then it wasn't till I started field trialing that the hunting came after that, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so I jumped into field trialing before I even considered upland hunting.
Wow. Okay. And with Theus, right?
With Millie.
With Millie. Okay, with Millie. So you got Millie, and then it's like, hey, let's do some trials. Was that something the breeder kind of suggested or nudged you towards? Or you were like,
No.
you found out about it and said, hey, let's give it a try.
Well, ironically enough, I was talking to her and I was like, hey, I've been thinking about maybe doing more with Millie. What are your suggestions? And she's like, you know what? There's two NAVHDA chapters in your area. Become members of the NAVHDA chapters, and then see who else you can source out. And then she actually did some sire trading, I guess you will, out of a breeder for Weimaraners not too far from a town from me. So she gave me that gent's number. So I call him up and I'm like, hey, dude, look, I'm just looking for some training tips and, could you point me in the right direction? And then he says, yeah, call this. You'll love this. Call Amigo Kennels out of Didsbury, a town near me. They're Brittany breeders. And yeah, see, I knew you'd love that.
Of course.
They've got a couple Canadian champions under their belt. Go talk to them. I'm like, all right. So I got a 14-week-old pup, and I call these people up, and I'm like, hey, I got this pup. I don't know what I'm doing. I got your number from so-and-so, and he told me I should come see you. And I'm like, all right, how old's your pup? Blah, blah, blah. All right, yeah, bring her out. So I drive out there. It's a 25-minute drive. They got pigeons, they got chuckers, they got pheasants, they got they got the thing set up to work with dogs. And put the dog down, and they tie a pigeon's wing up, and let it run around. And doesn't she run out there and point to this little pigeon, right? Of course, our new owner, I'm like just over the moon, so excited about this. And they're like, yeah, okay, well, bring her back in 2 weeks. I'm like, that's it. Yep, that's it.
See you later.
I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I was just in for the ride, right? And so then, and they're also judges at CKC events and stuff like that. And so, like, hey, you know what? You should put Millie into a derby or an open puppy and just see. I think you'd really like it. She'd really would do well in the thing. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So I call my breeder up. I'm like, hey, Donna, here's a deal. I'm gonna put Millie into an open puppy in a derby. It's like, oh, all right, cool. I'm like, so what should I do?
What's next?
What do I do? It's like, well, go get a starter pistol, and when she points the birds, flush the bird and pull the trigger. Like, she goes, just tell you one thing, okay? Keep your mouth shut and follow your dog's arse. That's it. I'm like,
great advice right there.
I'm like, that's it, eh? All right. So that's what I did, man.
That's awesome.
And even prior to that, I went to a couple of CKC trials just to watch. I got no dog in hand.
Sure.
I went around, talked to different owners of different breeds, picked their brain. I jumped in a couple of puppies, some advanced. Like, I just talked to judges. I just spent like 2 days there asking questions. And then the next time I brought her out, I'm like, all right, I recognize that person from the last year.
Yeah, you had a scope of the land, what the flow was like, what the people were like.
Yeah.
That's kudos to you, man, for doing that, because that's half the battle. I mean, people reach out to me, here and there. I'm like, hey, how do I start? What do I do? And it's kind of like listen to you. I would tell people like this episode right now, because it's like you put in the work.
Right.
You put in the work. You went to events. You ask questions. Talk to judges. Talk to the breeder. I guess I'm saying all this to like kind of make a point of like, it's not easy. It's not just going to come to you or fall in your lap. Like, you have to put in some work and travel and be vulnerable to reach out to someone you don't know and be like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing here. Can you point me in the right direction? Right.
Yeah. And even after the trial, like, so she was 10 months old, I guess, last June when I took her. And I didn't know anything, right? And so I do my brace, whatever, and then I go ask the judge. I'm like, hey, any advice, any insight you'd have for the dog, or even me as a handler, because I actually don't know what I'm doing. Other just showed up with the dog and let her run around and
just follow her.
yeah, it's just follow her, right? So, and it was good because I had some things happen during those trials. I didn't know what to do. And so, I can give you an example. In fact, tell you the story.
Yeah.
So one of the open derbies that we did, my brace mate was a similar aged German short-haired pointer, but probably 3 times her size, like just a monster of a GSP. So the race starts. Sorry, I should preface, the handler of the GSP is an older woman. And so she's got 2 very large GSPs. I think she's a breeder. Da, 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 da. Of course, I've never met her. I haven't met anybody. So off we go. And contrary to what the advice of my breeder gave me, this other handler was just like yakking and really yelling at the dog to advance and come back. And I'm just like, I don't even know I don't know how to process this.
Well, yeah, because in the moment you're probably then like confused, like, should I be doing that too, right?
Yeah,
like,
and a new handler, like my nerves are going, and I'm not sure what this dog, but her dog is there for a good time. So Millie, up to this point, had done an open derby and 2 puppies. So this was her last derby, and so I kind of had a little bit of insight, I guess, as to what is to do. The planters kind of plant the birds in similar spots, for the dogs and stuff. So I kind of expected where to find a bird, I guess you might say.
Sure.
So we are going on, and this dog is running around and jumping on top of Millie and carrying on and wants to play. And she's looking to hunt because she's already experienced this track twice before. Okay.
Sure.
At one point, I start to advance ahead of the other handler to try to give me some space between her and her dog, so that my dog can just work. But the dog doesn't stick with the handler; it's following me. And I hear the other her judge say, "Handler, are you going to call your dog back?" And she said, I overhear her say, "No, he does this in the dog park all the time." And I'm like, "Oh, great."
Okay, yeah.
So at one point, Millie's kind of working this area, and the dog comes in and hits her from the side. Yeah, and she kind of turns to the dog and kind of like gives it a barks and goes at it a bit to tell the dog to back off. And so the dog kind of scanters around. Millie comes around this bush and goes on point. I flush this bird, shoot the bird, or pull my pistol, and we carry on throughout the end. So at the end of this, I go to my judge. I'm like, okay, so what could you recommend to that? And she's like, what you could have done is instead of going ahead too far, is either stopped and said, can we separate, or judges, can we do something about this behavior or something, so that the judges then get involved in it? Because when she said, as you got further and further ahead, and I actually finished the brace 10 minutes before the other handler even came to crossing the end of it. So all that to say, I learned some things about that. The thing that I took away from that the most was, if my dog can be calm about that, I can be calm about that. So not to get too anxious or worked up, because she can also feed off of that, right? So I actually really leaned on her, on her ability to just kind of put up with it.
And stay focused, kind of like not let the small stuff kind of get you riled up.
So that was a real.
That's awesome. That's good, man. Because that probably happens to so many people. You get a dog who's just kind of a little bit crazy, and that's a very real world example right there. That's going to happen.
It is. It happens. I mean, that's why I don't take my dog to the dog parks, because behavior like that, it comes on.
Yeah, I feel you. I have a dog park 5 minutes from my house. Less than that, I can walk to it, and be like, "Oh, why don't you bring your dog to the dog park?" I'm like, "No, I'm okay."
He's tired. She's tired all the time.
Yeah. I was this is funny. I was talking to someone, and their dog is at a doggy daycare during when they're at work, which is fine, whatever. And they're like, "Oh, my dog's gonna get home. He's gonna be dead tired for 2 days, after doggy daycare." I was like, "Oh." I almost was like, usually my dogs run like 20, 25 miles a day for a hunt, and then we'll do a day 2 and a day 3, and they're kind of tired at the end. But I didn't. I just listened. I said, "Oh, that sounds like a cool doggy daycare."
Sure, you like it. Yeah, you get your money's worth.
I'm not bashing doggy daycares, people. Okay, if you have to use one, that's fine.
It's okay. Fine. It's just not for me.
Totally. Oh, very cool, man. What talk about hunting a little bit. Hunting upland birds in Canada. What are you able to chase? How has your season been so far? Catch us up.
Yeah, so I'm really new to the bird upland hunting scenario, right? So there's not a lot of pheasants in from my understanding, and it's very limited. So if
Sure.
viewers want to,
You're still
yeah, if
learning. Yep,
listeners
yep.
want to correct me on this, hey, I'm on open book. But from my understanding, they're not native to Alberta, ringneck pheasants. So there
Okay.
are different locations across central and southern Alberta, actually some north too, that the Alberta Conservation will actually raise birds, and they will release a certain amount
Sure.
every week or every month. And so that was my first
Sure.
introduction to pheasant hunting.
Okay.
Took me there a couple handful of times, and we capitalized on a few birds, but they're not exactly the smartest of bird. The
Sure.
red rays,
They hold pretty well. They don't
they
run. Yeah.
fly like 20 yards, 30 yards, and you can
Sure.
chase it.
Yeah. Pen raised
Yeah.
bird. Yep.
And so people are like, well, wait till you get her on wild birds. I'm like, all right, well, we're going to find some wild birds, right? So
Sure.
through the CKC and introductory of different gents, I've met some guys who are like, hey,
Yeah.
can we get out? And I'm like, yeah, well, sure. I don't know where to go except for that in my line of work, I deal with a lot of farmers. And so I have a lot of private land accessible to me to hunt.
Okay.
And so like, well, I think, there's Sharpies and their hunts, southern Alberta. I'm like, yeah, I got some clients down there. So off we go. And so on one particular 2 days, yeah, I think we hunted 2 days at two different locations that were about, I'd say, 100 miles apart. So we
Sure.
went to one spot and found Sharpies there the one day and some Huns. But then the
Okay.
next day at another place, we found more Huns. So Sharpies and Huns you
Okay.
can find here. And then
Nice.
another farmer just to the east of me, about an hour's drive. I was talking to one of the guys here. I'm like, hey, do you guys have any any pheasants around? He's like, dude, we have pheasants around. Like, you go there in the evening and you just hear them squawk and then call on each. Oh yeah, he's like,
Oh, geez.
there's so many. I'm like, oh really? Tell me more.
Tell me more.
So I went out there 2 weeks ago now, and dude, like, I'm driving the gravel road. Of course, there's ditch chickens all over the place. I'm like, are you got to be
Sure.
kidding me? And then you turn the corner, and I'm like, there goes a bunch of Sharpies. There's some more Huns. I'm like, all right, so there's 3 different species of birds right here that we can hunt. And
Wow.
yeah, and so I frequent that spot now a few times. And
Sure.
last
Sure.
weekend, I seen probably easy 20 or more roosters running around.
Dang, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean that's a good. I mean those are three awesome
Yeah,
birds
yeah, and to be
chase
able to
right
hunt
there.
them all at the same time uh,
Yeah.
on private land, like I remember when I go to a pheasant release again.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, why would you need to?
Yeah,
That's
it's pretty cool.
super fun. What was the transition like? I guess for you and Millie. So it kind of sounds like you start out
Yeah,
with some of the trials and CKC. That's
Kennel Club.
Canadian
Yeah,
Kennel Club. Okay, that's what I thought, but just want to make sure. So we started out with doing some trials, and then it sounds like you made a transition to actually
yeah,
wild
I
bird
did.
hunting,
Yeah,
right? Or
so I did the
doing
pheasants
reporting.
first. The release sites first.
Okay. Sure. Anyway, how did she adjust to that? What did you learn from going from the trial then to going to hunt birds? Like, was there any learning curve or anything
Yeah,
that stood out to you that was
yeah, there is,
noteworthy?
and there's still a disconnect that I'm trying to put together on this puzzle. So in field trials, your eyes are on the bird, on the dog the entire time, right? That connection is there. To when you flush the bird, the dog does not move. But when you're hunting, your eye is on the prey because you want to harvest the prey. So there's this. I'm not no longer looking at my dog,
Sure.
and what I'm thinking, and this is one of my things I'm trying to take away and still keep in the back of my mind is just trust the process. Because
Mm,
in field trials, my eyes are on the dog. I'm approaching the dog from the side or from the front. The bird hopefully is between us or beside. That's been
sure.
my training, and so
Somewhere in that area, your dog goes on point.
yeah,
It's either in
and
front or
so she's watching me for a signal, and I'm watching her. Whoa, stay, and then flush the bird, blow the cap gun. All is good. In hunting, my eyes are off of her because I'm looking for this bird. Where is this bird?
Waiting
Yeah,
for that
and
flush. Yeah.
she's pretty good to hold steady and not creep. I mean, that's been really good to see. But there's
Sure.
that connection, that disconnect between field trial and hunting that I have to be comfortable and trust her that she's going to stay, even if my eyes aren't on her.
Yeah, there's a trust. Yeah, there's a trust
Yeah,
factor. It's like, I'm going to turn my back because you're looking at the bird, waiting for the
yeah,
flush, whatever it might be. And there's that trust of like, I hope you're
right.
not creeping behind
And
me.
so we do work that drill when we're doing
Sure.
pigeons and chuckers and stuff. That just because my back is turned to you doesn't give you the right to creep. And she has, and we've tried to nip that in the butt with different things. And so it's
Sure.
been good. But that's I think more on me than it is on her. I'm trusting that she's still there when I turn around.
Sure.
Right. So
Totally. There's like the lack of, it's like us as handlers or the hunter out there, almost like us giving up a little
right.
bit of control, because again, training, again, blank pistols on my hip, one hand's on my remote,
Right.
eyes are on the dog. And in my mind, I have a little control over that situation because if she steps, I can
Yeah.
get her with the collar. In hunting, you're kind of letting go of some of that control to say, all right, this dog is going to do what
Right.
I hope they're going to do
Yeah.
to some
Yeah.
degree.
I've heard one guy say that he never hunts over his own dog, that he's got a group of guys that they hunt with. And so they're always rotating the dog because another hunter, and then
Sure.
the handler can still work their dog. Right. And that's something I'd really like to do. I haven't done it yet, but something I'd like to get to doing with a few guys that I've been hunting with here recently.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, I remember my mentor, or 2 summers ago, whenever it was, I force broke Gage, and over the summer, and then heading into hunting season, he's like, I was so excited. I was going in for Sharpies, and I was all excited going in September. And he's like, leave the gun at the car. I was like, what? He's like, leave the gun at the car. Just take him out, let him get on some Sharpies, let him get him some birds, and don't. For me, if I want to keep them steady, whatever, like leave the gun, just focus on the dog. Sure, you're gonna watch some birds sail, but again, you gotta just pick your priorities. If you want to go out there and harvest birds, awesome. More power to you. If your dog creeps, some people don't mind it. That's fine.
Sure.
Everyone's got different priorities, but if you care about a rock steady dog, whatever it might be, adding the shotgun into the equation.
Yeah.
You have that in your hand, and the bird gets up.
Well, that's the thing, right?
Hard
and even in the trials, so after you've blown off your pistol, your dog's still supposed to remain. In hunting, if you wound a bird, you want that dog to get that bird, right? So how do you I don't know. That's things I'm still learning, man, and I'm looking forward to figuring it out.
It's a balance, and it's fun to watch the dogs figure it out too, because there's like both my dogs, they kind of know when we're out at the training field on pigeons, and they know when we're out hunting. And there's this again, they're not perfect, but they have started to associate like wild bird hunting, like he's off at the shot after the bird, but then when we're had him out a couple weeks ago, and I fired the blank pistol, and he's still standing there. So I'm like, how did you pick that up? I mean, I know they're intelligent, but yeah. And so they'll get cool there, but yeah. I mean, there's I don't know, probably all sorts of people out there rolling right now, going, "No, you shouldn't do that."
Yeah, it's possible. I'm just here to learn. So
yeah, absolutely. How's the hunting season been for you this year? And I guess when are your seasons to hunt birds there? So
Sharpies and Huns
all that stuff.
Sharpies are done. They ended start of November, I think it was. Huns are still open, I think, to the end of the month, and pheasants are open till the end of the month. So actually, that's not true. They're open this weekend. This weekend it closes for pheasants.
Okay. So they'll be over. Okay. Is there a couple months season?
Yeah,
or is it pretty
mid-October and on. The release sites, some release sites are open already mid-September. So you kind of get like 2-3.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you almost get like 2-3 weeks to go chase these lazy birds, and then you can go chase real birds. Okay. Yeah, a lot of guys are like that. Yeah, it's just warm up, whatever, training situation. But sure. I've talked to a few guys, and even after the season closes, I'm going to get out there and chase pheasants with my starter pistol and just work the dog. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's awesome. That's awesome. Do you know? Do you know if you guys have like mountain grouse at all, like blue grouse or
Spruce
fescue or
grouse,
anything?
I've seen for sure.
Spruce.
And
Okay.
those are open. That'll be open right till, I gotta check the regs again, but I think it's right till in January, February. I gotta check the regs. Don't hold me to that.
Okay.
But that's something I want to get onto as
Sure.
well in December. Is I'd like to get out for a
That's
couple
awesome.
day winter camp and slash hunting.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's kind of
Yeah.
in the books.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great, man. So why a Vizsla for you? What led you to a Vizsla? What are, again? Tell me a little bit what I guess
Mm-hmm.
what Millie is like, and what makes her
Well,
special.
it was Bijla because I really wanted. So when I was looking, and I've had other dogs, but I really wanted my dog, even with Theus, right?
Sure.
Although he did take to my wife and my daughter, probably more than me. And my hesitation to pull it, no pun intended, pull the trigger on this on Millie from this Montana breeder was because when I contacted her originally, she had 2 males and a female. And in my research, I heard that the males will fall in love with you, but the girls will like you, and the females will like you. And I was like, yeah, like
Okay.
he was a lap dog, just no
Sure.
boundaries, um,
Yeah.
no personal space.
No
No,
personal
man.
personal space. He's like, all right, you're sitting
Exactly,
there,
which is
I'm sitting
hard when
there
you're
too.
working from home and he wants to be, on top of the computer table. But
Yeah.
so that being said, I waited a little bit long to grab a male. So when I called Donna back, she's like, "Yeah, I got this female left that I actually was holding back for myself. But if you're serious and you really want her, I would let her go." So bringing home Millie came at a bit of a time where our hearts were broken, having lost Theus, right? In such a short time. Like he was diagnosed with cancer, and 4 days later, I was feeding him with a turkey baster, just trying to keep him alive.
Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
so it came really
Jeez.
hard and really fast. So without being on a rebound, I knew that I loved that breed. And similar to you, like once you had that breed,
Yeah.
you kind of fall in love with
Sure.
the
Make a
the
connection.
the
Yeah.
characters that they bring. So
Sure.
then Millie, and to her Instagram handle, along came Millie. Uh, you know, sometimes you get the dog you want, and sometimes you get the dog you need. And this is a case where I got the dog I needed. And so yeah,
Yeah.
just a real connection between her and I, because we spent so much time in the field and on training. We train once a week, like on the grounds, and then I do yard work at home.
Sure.
But we kind of say that she's broken in a sense because Theus, if you're on the couch, it was like, dude, you got the whole couch, but why do you got to sit on my lap? Where her, I'll be on the couch. As long as she's in the same room, she could be like on a chair somewhere else or on the floor or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
she's a little more
she's a little more
aloof.
independent then.
Yeah. So
Okay.
she's got her own characteristics.
Sure.
Yeah, she's biddable though, like very trainable. She wants to. She's food driven, so if you really need to do something, you pull a treat out of your pocket,
Sure.
and she'll scale a wall for that.
She's
Oh yeah,
motivated,
yeah, and you
ready
don't
to
have to.
work, ready
Yeah,
to
and she's
do what you need to.
very soft in nature, right? So I don't have to raise my voice or even like there's no firm hand. I just correct her, put her back, whoa, stay, and and she does that, right? So
That's great. That's great, especially for, again, someone new to hunting, new to upland hunting, right? Like you want a dog, like you said, biddable, who's gonna kind of forgive some of our mistakes, right? Like as new handlers, we're gonna make a ton, and so that's really, like you said, that you got the
I
dog you
did,
needed. It
yeah,
sounds like to kind of help you along as
yeah.
well, and that's
I've got
important.
great. Like you use the word mentor, refer to your mentor by quite a bit. And I feel very blessed to have had contact with this couple on these Brits. I mean, they'll work with any dog, but it's such a cool pairing between the two of them. She does a lot of the puppy stuff, and even Tamili, like she's a year and a half. But if there's things like just yard work, steady to flush, Tom, and I love this. Don't mistake meekness for weakness. You can be meek and still be firm, right? And so I learned a lot from just watching him with her, and that's what I love about going there is they're like, here's what you need to do. and then I'll do it, and they'll critique me as much as a dog, and I'm cool with that because I just want to be the sponge that that's how I'm going to get.
Totally. You're not going to learn if they say, "Yep, great job,
Yeah,
Jody. Way to go. See you
thanks
next
for hanging
time."
out.
It's like you're not going to learn anything.
Yeah, no, they're just sweet people, and so I consider them my mentors, for sure.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad you found them. I was going to kind of ask you about the training side of things. Like, has it just been a lot of just kind of watching, learning, asking questions? Has there been any other, maybe I guess other influences or resources that you've learned?
I did when
or
I first brought
used?
Millie home. I hooked on to Standing Stone Kennels. They are.
Yeah,
They had a
awesome.
video series. They probably have many of them, but the one that I seen was they had like a 12 or 15-month-old weak pup, sorry to say, and they were just doing placement training, right, and clicker training. And I'd watch that video. I'm like, I can do that. I can set this up in my bonus room. So I'd go make a little crate of 2x4s, and I'd put it in the corner of the room so it can't slide, and I'd place kennel, over and over. And I just watched those videos with her extensively and just kind of worked up. Then I, of course, get onto some books and some.
Good. It's good to go. Cool. Where were you? Pick up from what were you saying?
Yeah, that's a great question.
I know. I was hoping you were going to remember.
In regards to that, anyways, I think I was talking about just the training that I've done here with Standing Stone.
Yeah.
And working with Millie through their video series, and then of course getting in touch with Kim and Tom, and then just reading books and talking to people, listening to podcasts like yourself, The Flush. There's a few others that aren't coming to mind, but just listening to people's experiences and things that they've been doing with their dogs, and just watching and listening. That's what I try to do most of.
I was going to ask you, like, again, being somewhat new to this, you're still in the grind, you're still figuring things out, which we all are to some degree. We're all still learning.
Yeah.
I can't say that enough, but any like, I guess any like kind of roadblocks or hurdles that you have had to, I guess, face or overcome being new to hunting, got a young dog, like kind of figuring this out on your own. Mm-hmm. Any like kind of hurdles you've had to kind of overcome over the last year and a half or so?
Yeah, I think, one of the things that I'm still sitting on the fence with is the force fetch conversation. And a dog bone, I can't remember his first name, but he doesn't do force fetch. He just does hold conditioning.
Okay.
And of course, he's got retrievers, but now he's got a pointer. He's got a pointing breed of some kind. Anyways, that being said, I find there's a bit of a conversation on the different podcasts I've listened to, and whether you should and whether you shouldn't, and whether you should do the toe hitch or whether you do the ear pinch and so on and so forth. For her first year, I went the road of hold conditioning.
Okay.
And I think I wouldn't change that with her anyways, being a biddable dog and a very soft dog, and she's soft in the mouth, so she doesn't chew. But just getting her up off the ground and putting something in her mouth and hold. And she would, at first she didn't want to put it in her mouth, and she would put it in her mouth and she'd look away, and she just wanted nothing to do with it. Right. And I started with like a 1/2-inch wooden dowel. It wasn't anything ridiculous.
Something pretty small.
Very small. And I kept it short, and I just did that. Get her up on the bench. And if she would get up on the bench, that in itself was a win to me. And then work to the hold conditioning. So now I'm to the point where I think this year I'll introduce force fetch.
Okay.
She's gotten much better by putting different things in her mouth. Like I throw videos up all the time.
Yeah. I've seen some of those. Again, just getting comfortable with it. Yeah.
Just getting comfortable.
Did she have any, just sorry to cut you off. Did she have any, I guess, natural drive to go pick up either birds or bumpers or anything like that? Or was she kind of like, I'm good?
No, she did for bumpers right away.
Okay.
Yeah. Bumpers, balls, doesn't matter. Right. So that was good. Of course, that in conjunction with heel conditioning to bring her to me again, to get her back. And I've put videos out there for people to comment, and even just to DM me privately, say, hey, have you thought about this? Have you tried that? Because I don't know. So it's my way of asking for people's advice.
Give me all your advice.
On a large, broad scale.
Yeah.
And maybe there's a junior or someone and this is one of the things that I think is very important for us to remember is there's always someone ahead of me, but there's always someone behind me.
Sure. Absolutely.
right? And people have, like, I got another buddy that I met who's got a brand new Brit, and he's like, "Hey, how did you get her to retrieve?" And I'm like, "Oh, this are the things that I did, and here's the things I've been watching and I've been reading and whatever." Just pass it on, right?
Yeah.
It's how you pass it forward. But that thing, I think, for me, still is getting back to answering your question, is whether I should force fetch or not. And I think this year we will, just to really hit that home.
Sure.
But like putting down a water bottle or putting down a remote control, telling her to fetch, and she'll look at me like, "Really? You want me to pick up a remote control?"
She's like, "What do you think I am?"
Yeah, but it's just getting her used to picking up something different, right? Like I did the ball, and then I did pheasant wings, and then I did canvas bumpers, and then rubber ducks, and then whatever sticks. The bottle with the water for her right now, that's a hurdle, and I love watching it. Yeah, because it's something that she's got to squish harder.
Yeah,
to keep in her mouth. That's got flexibility to it.
A little weight to it. Moves around a little bit.
Moves around.
Yeah.
Like to go back and forth is not an issue, but to turn around with that bottle takes an enormous amount of brain power for her to robot around.
I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah, this is so awkward. It's like holding hands when you're just like 13. Like,
right.
I know I want to do this, but this feels really awkward.
Exactly. Oh, that's fun, man. Well, I am no pro at force fetch. I'm just gonna watch your journey unfold, and I'm gonna learn from you over the next little while. Again, I think I got lucky. I force fetch Gage a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And again, watching YouTube videos and all that good stuff, and it worked really well. And so again, I'm coming to that point probably next summer or this coming summer. I guess I'll probably do something similar with Win, and so we'll see. Again, always learning, always, okay, is this the best method? What should we be trying? But
yeah, and I think it's different from dog to dog, right? Temperament and character, which is something that I'm trying to consider as well. Yeah. But I think she'd take to it, and I don't think it would take very long because she wants to please.
Yeah, I was going to say, sounds like she's very eager to do what she needs to do. get her takes her job serious, I should say.
Yeah. I guess one of the hurdles we're working through right now too is the fetching of birds.
Sure.
Because she'll fetch a pheasant or she'll fetch a bumper, even wrapped in feathers all day long. But it comes to that bird, there's something there that's different again, whether it be the scent or the blood on the bird or whatever. But I did a video this last week. I was with my buddy. He shot a bird. And so we just practiced, a retrieval with her, and she did bring it, especially when other dogs around.
I was just gonna say, so Win, my younger female, never has retrieved a bird. One pigeon, like kind of, she played with it a little bit, whatever. Hunting pheasants the other day with my buddy, and we had Gage and then his GSP down, and first bird she ever retrieved, and I think it was the other dogs. It was she pointed it. They went after it, and she was first there, and she picked it up and brought the freaking bird back. Okay. Never has done it before. Again, mostly hunter alone.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was the other dogs that kind of like there was this competition kind of thing, but she brought that damn pheasant back, and I was like, "What the frick?" That's awesome.
Yeah.
But
so for her,
like
for Millie, it's reverse. If there's other dogs around, not so much, because I attest to it. The summer I was working some water work with her. And I'd sent her on a retrieve in the water. And that was gradual to get there too. It was about safely a 30-yard pitch. And she was out there and the other dog took off into the water and actually got on her back 3 times and pushed her under the water.
Okay. So
and she turned around and she want nothing to do with that.
Sure.
And I wonder now if that plays a bit into it. Sure. Like on her own, no trouble. But other dogs around, someone else can pick it up. Maybe I won't pick it up this time.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think, like you said, it can be so different for dog to dog, breed to breed.
Yeah.
All these variables that we get to encounter.
Yeah, it's fun though. I do appreciate the process.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
You have any more plans for trials and all that good stuff? Is it kind of the same system? At least are you doing like the hunt test? Sounds like, right? Or the
so this year I'll probably. Yeah, so I'll do the field trials for sure. Okay. She's got one leg of her FDJ. Okay. So I want to get that under her belt and then get through the FD likely. And we'll see maybe the FDA, which is the advanced. I mean, she's doing some things now already on the advanced side of things.
Sure.
So, but she's only, like a year and a half, right?
Yeah,
so we'll see.
She's young.
She's young. Yeah. So she did did 4 derbies, or sorry, 2 open derbies and 2 puppies.
Okay.
And she came with third out of the 4 and honorable mention on the 4th.
Okay.
So I'd like to do it this year again with her and put her in and see how she goes.
Yeah.
And then I'll probably enter into some NAVDA testing as well, just to get that international stuff.
Yeah. Have you dabbled with that at all, or the NAVDA?
No, I haven't at all. No. I've gone to some training clinics that they've had. Did a duck drag or a pigeon drag, I guess, in the sense, but that was her very first attempt at it. So she just used the wind. She's like, screw this. Boom. Ran over there, locked on point. I'm like, well, that's where it's at. She didn't really follow the grass. She went for the wind.
Good try.
Yeah, good try. But I'm going to try to do some drag work. I actually kept a bit of the hide of a deer that I had harvested.
Okay.
And so I'm going to roll that up and drag that through the grass and make her work her nose and see how that works. Try that.
That's awesome. That's cool, man. It's fun. It's fun hearing a journey like this. That's, again, somewhat new, a young dog, like figuring this stuff out. I think that's cool to, again, just kind of see kind of the path everyone takes on this stuff. It's really, really fun to watch. It
is. People used to ask me, what do you want out of your dog? I'm like, I don't know. I've never had a dog.
You don't know what you don't know. It's your first dog. I mean, first hunting dog now. And
I think there's a lot of ways to get there. It's just finding the one that works for you and your dog.
Preach that. Because that's you got to find what works for you and works for your dog. I know I've said that before on here, but multiple ways to get there, multiple ways to skin a cat. We've all heard the saying, but it has to make sense to you, has to work for your dog and your style. And then you'll figure it out what you want to do on your second dog, your third dog. Yeah.
Well, and you can attest this because you got 7 dogs?
Something like that. 7 kids, maybe. I don't know. Lose track. I'm gonna be like Susanna Love from the Smith Kennels. I asked her how my dog she had, and she's like, right. Don't ask me that.
Well, I think Jeremy put it best. You got to have the 1-to-1 ratio, right? So
exactly. I guess I'm catching up to do on the dog side.
Yeah, you got to work that out. But you know this just as well as anybody that every dog's got a different character, just like every kid's got a different way of learning too, right? Totally. So the thing that I'm trying to keep in the forefront of my mind is what is Millie teaching me about my own character, my handling, my attitude, my patience, because sometimes I want something more than she does. Right? Like it's that last retrieve and she was so good. And I'm like, why did I throw that one? Now she's not interested. What did I learn about that? Just take it easy, man.
That's so good. Dude, I love it. Tell me a little bit. I know we're going to do something a little later in the week. I know you got a little side thing. You do Maple Made. Well, first off, tell everyone what is Maple Made, and then describe what do you call these saws you make?
Yeah. So I started in 2018. I started making buck saws, foldable heritage buck saws for the outdoorsman camper. I'd call them bushcrafters is what they're formerly known as now, I guess.
Nice.
But
they look intense. I'll just say they look freaking intense.
Yeah, they're pretty sweet, man. I will say. I'd be biased about it, but no, they're fun, right? So that's kind of the outdoors genre that I fall mostly into. So Maple Made Co. is my other Instagram handle. That's where I sell saws.
Sure.
Outdoor camping and cooking and so on and so forth. And so I started that in 2018, and then the products just kind of they evolved from there. I did the one saw, and then I had a customer ask me if I could do like a folding saw. I'm like, I don't do folding saws.
Okay.
Anyway, he ships me his saw because he had a small version of what he was looking for. That for quite a few years the blade was dull. And he's like, just keep the saw until you've made something that you're proud of, and then ship it back to me. And I'm like, all right. So, it was almost a year on my bench. I'd walk past. I'm like,
Sure.
Anyways, long story short, all of a sudden I had an idea. I'm like, hey, I think I can make something work here. So then that was born the Rocky Mountain folder, I call it.
Okay.
And then the single handle, it's got a small handle with a longer blade. That I call the bush pike. And just because the pikes have a lot of teeth on them, right?
Okay. I was going to say, all these saws, I mean, they're all serrated teeth, right? It's not no smooth blades. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So they're wood saws, and a lot of campers, overlanders,
Sure.
it's a great little tool, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, started that in 2018, and that's kind of the
Have the foldables kind of been kind of a go-to? Is that what kind of most people are looking for? Something more foldable or?
the foldable or the fixed blade.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. The buck saws are good too, but they're more for the traditionalist, right? The guy that's got the wax canvas leather,
Okay.
kind of wants to go back in yesteryear,
Sure.
kind of. Yeah, and that's cool. It's for everybody, but
Sure.
yeah, I'm not that guy. I'm kind of a hybrid,
Sure.
I like camping, but I don't like wax canvas and leathers on my back
Sure.
to get point A to point B. That's been done.
You want comfort.
I want a little bit of comfort. I want lightweight.
Yeah.
I'm getting to the point where I'm just like, I don't need an extra 50 pounds in gear. I just want to get there with as light as I can, or drive there. That's okay too.
Driving is totally okay. It's efficient, gets you there.
It gets me there.
Oh.
I'm set up in 30 seconds or less, and I can leave whenever I want to leave.
So true. So true. Well, that's pretty cool, man. Those are some pretty sweet looking saws. I have you mentioned I have like a super old like foldable kind of saw thing like that. And I think that's kind of what you're talking. It has like the teeth on it. And
yeah.
I think I got it for when I thought I was going to be a deer hunter.
Ah, nice.
I sold all
you
my
still
stuff.
could.
No, I sold all my stuff.
Yeah.
I just spent the money on more Upland stuff. So.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there comes a point where you got to pick your. You
do. You have to, especially with kids and sports and all that stuff. Yeah. And so I got Upland hunting and then everything else. It's just had to pick my battles and pick my my time that I'm away.
I appreciate that. Yeah. No, definitely. I certainly appreciate that. It's hunting is not a cheap hobby, no matter which avenue you take, right?
It's not. You got the dogs, the gear, all that good stuff. Well, brother, we're gonna start wrapping this thing up, bringing it home. But I got a couple more questions I'd love to ask you. So, kind of the staple one here is, talking to the rookie Uplander out there, someone listening to this right now. What's a piece of advice you would share with them?
Ask questions. And just don't be afraid to look stupid. I mean, it's probably not a nice way to put that, but
sure.
Yeah. I think if you're going to learn, you got to ask. And you've always heard in school, they say there's no dumb question, right? And I think in any outdoor, I shouldn't say it, most outdoor genres of people, they just want to bring people along for the ride because there's so much enjoyment of helping others, right? And so, I'd say just ask questions and don't be afraid to make mistakes. The dog's is very forgivable, right? I know I do things all the time. Like I probably should have done at that time. But like, for example, always throwing one more retrieve. And then she's like, I don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. So now I keep it short, 4 or 5, we're done. Let's see. Let's go home.
Yep.
Yeah. Just don't be afraid to make mistakes and don't be afraid of asking questions.
That's good, man. That's so true. Great advice right there. So you picked it up quickly. So well done.
Well, thank you.
All right, a couple rapid fire questions here for you, and we'll wrap it up, brother. For you, Jody, what came first, the dog, the gun, or the bird?
It was the gun, but not the shotgun.
Okay.
Right,
because the rifle.
I was big game hunting.
Okay. But the gun was that first introduction for you.
Yeah, 270 Tika. That was my first rifle.
Nice, man. That's awesome. Okay, what shotgun are you carrying into the field and why? Uh-oh.
Here's a story.
Get ready, everyone.
It's a short one, though. So I started with a side-by-side.
Okay.
I think it's a Stoker 12 gauge. Very short. My buddies tease me because he's like, are you here to shoot birds or rob a stagecoach?
Oh, gosh. Like a sawed-off shotgun.
I could easily hide that in a jacket.
Sure.
It's like, I don't even know if that's actually legal, man. I showed up at a sporting place. He's like, I don't think you're supposed to have that gun.
Sure. You're like, that's a self-defense shotgun. Oh, gosh.
But it's still there. I've taken a couple ducks with it. But anyways, I take the Franchi 20 gauge, man. It's a
nice. Gun. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I got the same gun. So it's a beauty.
It is nice. Yes.
It's a nice gun. Swings nice. Not too heavy. So, all right. Favorite dog breed besides the ones you've owned?
I knew you were going to ask this.
Of course.
I've listened to your podcast enough times to know. only because I've not had one, but I like the way they look. The way they look is the draw. They got that beard going
Oh,
on
sure.
for themselves.
The bearded wonder.
The bearded wonder. I also like the wide-haired Vizsla. I mean, it's kind of
Nope. Can't do it.
All right.
It's my podcast. I can make the rules.
You can make your rules. All right. I just gave up 10 points.
We'll go with the draw.
Yeah. No, I think that's what I like the looks of them. They just kind of have this rough, gruff look to them.
No, they do for sure. They look like badass bird dogs for sure.
I'd like to hunt with a dog like that, like behind one. I think it'd be a cool experience just to see what they can do.
That would
be.
Man. Awesome. A couple more here. One piece of gear you would never hunt without. And you can't say shotgun and you can't say your dog.
Can I say Garmin?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I did pick up the Alpha 10 because I lost her in the woods, actually, for about 20 minutes. And that kind of gave me a bit of a scare. So I was like, enough of that. So,
how do you like the 10?
I like it. It's got some really cool features. I like the 550 because I have the buttons. There's this very... It's just intuitive. I know where the buttons are.
It's very tactile, and you can,
Yeah, I can have it in my jacket or my pocket, and I know what I'm doing. With that one, I got to look at it and see. But they both have their pros.
Sure, absolutely. That's good. That's good. No, so it's such an important piece of gear to have. I cannot preach that enough of GPS on your dog because.
Yeah, I got a good scare, and that kind of.
Yeah. That'll do it. That'll do it. All right. Favorite bird to hunt and why?
Well, very limited, but I do like the pheasants.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're just a beautiful bird. At least the wild ones that I've hunted, they're just like they're in your face. Like they're either. This is my experience. Either they're gone at like 300 yards, or they're within 3 feet,
or they're right there. Yeah. It's like you get one or the other.
You get one or the other, yeah. Either way, you're going to see them. But at least that's been my experience. So, but I do. I think they're a beautiful bird, and I like that kind of. I know they're here somewhere. Just when are they going to pop? Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep. No, they're fun to hunt. The little jerks of the uplands, though, because like you said, they're unpredictable.
They are jerks. Yeah.
2 more here. Your go-to snack on a hunting trip.
I like smoked meat that I might make myself, some sausage or some jerky or something, and I'm big into that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you'll make your own jerky now. Dang.
Make my own jerky. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Last time I went hunting, I had some of my own sausage I made. So pretty decent.
That's good. It's better than the last couple episodes I've had. People keep talking about these pies, these like meat pies.
What?
I don't know. Last two guests I've had that it's Bailey Taylor and Mike Thompson both shared. Both similar, like it's this meat pie you get at the grocery store. It's like kind of small, and then you put it on your radiator to warm it up in your truck. I don't know. It's weird.
No.
Man. It's weird. I know. So thank you for going just like a normal just a normal.
Jalapeno cheddar venison smokies. That's what I had on last trip.
Load me up. I love it. Beverage of choice after a hunt.
I like a whiskey and ginger ale. Once I'm home.
Sure.
A lot of guys are like, water. Yeah. Well, I get it. Because you're freaking dehydrated.
We're all drinking water after.
The last 22 kilometers I put on last weekend, I was eating snow, man. I was out of water. I was like chomping snow.
Oh, no.
Like, dang, I got to get some more liquid in me.
That's when you know it's bad, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty thirsty. But I like a nice scotch. And,
okay. Yeah. That's awesome. It's a stupid question. Speaking of asking, no questions dumb, right? Is Scotch whiskey? Are they one and the same?
I believe
Scotch different. Okay. I've never had Scotch, so I don't know. I've had whiskey though.
You're asking the wrong guy. I'm not a connoisseur, but
I thought you would know.
Hey,
you just lost some more points.
I'm gonna say Scotch is whiskey.
Okay. All right. We will get corrected. So.
Oh, there's going to be someone DMing.
Direct all complaints to Jody.
All hockey questions to me, please.
No. Direct hockey questions to me. You handed in your Canadian card.
I did, yeah. I'm an illegal immigrant at this point.
Yeah, I mean, basically. That's a different podcast. Oh man, this has been fun, man. Thanks for jumping on here and again just sharing your story. I love we talked a little bit about dogs being so unique. Like people are so unique in our stories,
True.
and how we got to where we are now, whether it's someone hunting for 20 years or someone who's been at it a year and a half or so. So really appreciate you sharing it with us.
Well, likewise, man. I'm happy to say that it's been a really cool journey, and I've learned a lot from listening to your podcast, and the folks that you've had on. It's a good wide variety of people and a different experience and expertise.
Sure.
And I travel a lot, so it really helps my time on the highway go through.
well, thank you. I'm glad it can help a little bit.
I listen to 3 or 4 sometimes back to back to back. I'm like,
Sure.
okay, this is good stuff, right?
Yeah,
So,
well, appreciate it, man.
yeah, and if I can help somebody that's coming up that knows nothing about it,
Sure.
we're in the same boat. Like I know
Sure.
very little, but what I have learned has been really fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. And if people want to follow along, Instagram best way, you on Facebook, anything? What's best way for
I'm on
people to
Instagram.
follow along?
For Millie, Along Came Millie is our handle there, and for my other outdoor activities, Maple Made Co. is where I'm at. So
awesome.
Between those two,
That's awesome.
and thanks for being a guest. Upcoming series of Meet Your Maker through Maple Made Co., which is going to happen tomorrow.
Yes, very
So
excited.
that'll be fun live, and then I'll post that on my Instagram handle, so people can watch that.
That's awesome.
So it'll be me asking you questions here.
Yeah,
shortly.
little reverse role. So I'm looking forward to that, and
It'll be fun, man.
it should be fun. I haven't done an IG live yet, so it'll be a good
All
time.
right, sweet.
Yeah. So see, Jeremy, we didn't rip on Jeremy much this episode, which was kind of
No, I was actually hoping that he would request to maybe be a part of the live coming up. I'll have to just give him a message.
Yeah,
let him
he
know
loves being on. He loves being on video.
I'm still waiting for a T-shirt from Jeremy. I think that'd be the best, man.
You're not the first one to request that.
Really?
I was gonna say, oh no, I've had a couple other requests. They want like the Jeremy in a stash and on a shirt or a hat or something. So
Yeah, I think so. Is there something that Jeremy says like that? That's his go-to line. Like,
oh gosh, he says a lot of dumb things, but he's probably turned this off by now.
he probably.
He's probably like, screw this. I'm not getting roasted again.
I'm through with this.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Love you, Jeremy. All right, Jody. Thanks so much, man. It's been a blast. We'll be talking to you soon.
I really appreciate the time.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
And that's a wrap of episode 69 with Jody Funk from Maple Made Co. Jody, thank you so much, man. That was a ton of fun. I especially appreciated our hockey talk. Speaking of, I got to catch the Avs game here in just a little bit. My boys have been kind of up and down this season, but it's been going well. I have faith in the Avs. They got a lot of time, a lot of games ahead of them, so no need to worry. But anyways, thank you, Jody, for sharing your time, your knowledge, your passion with us. Really excited to see your journey continue to unfold along with Millie and whatever other dogs you pick up here in the future. You never know, man. You can never have too many dogs. Hey guys, if you recently ordered a hat from me, I will be getting those out in the mail tomorrow, which is Friday, December something or other. So don't worry, I'll be getting those out to you. I still have some hats left, so if you'd like a hat, shoot me a message on Instagram. It's going to be the best way to get a hold of me. And if not, Facebook Messenger as well. I will periodically check that. I need to get better at checking Facebook. But if you'd like a hat, let me know. I know we got Christmas coming up. Make a great gift, whether it's for your husband, your wife, your spouse, your kids, whoever it might be. Have some awesome Upland Rookie hats. A couple different varieties, styles, patch colors, all that good stuff. So get your orders in super quick. Would like to get the rest of these hats gone sooner than later. Anyways, until next time, go put some miles on those boots and follow your favorite bird dog. Take care.